Alright, my friends, this is the one I was really looking forward to. Egg Robo. Yes, a full-on human-sized badnik to join the ranks of Metal Sonic and Mecha Sonic. Although Mecha Sonic, which should be this tall, is much smaller, as if he's made for a 2.5-inch scale, just big for that scale. Huh. I wonder if Jazzwares will produce an upscaled version of that figure so that we can have it... Nah, well, whatever. I digress. This is a review of the death of the Egg Robo, one of my favorite classic badniks. Although he has appeared in some modern games as a playable character in the kart racer minigame for Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and as also, I think the regular Sonic Adventure 2 had him as well, and also, you know, in like he was also in Sonic Generations in the Sky Sanctuary Zone. Although, we all may know the most recent iteration of the Egg Robos was in Sonic Mania, where 5 Egg Robos turned into the hard-boiled heavies. So, is this going to be repainted and slightly recast to make the hard-boiled heavies? Like, I'm all for that. I'm pretty sure someone's going to commission me to make... They're going to send me 4 of these figures to make into the hard-boiled heavies. Possibly 5, but I'm not sure, like... I guess he is big enough that I could use him to make Heavy King. Yeah. Like, seriously, that's probably the thing I'm going to do. Assuming that they don't do it. So, yeah. 13 points of articulation, the rest of the wave. Egg Robo is an egg-shaped robot and is one of the more powerful badniks. Yes. I don't know how many of you guys read the Archie comics, but read the Archie comics from back in the day. But yeah, like when they introduced Egg Robos into Archie continuity, they were ridiculously overpowered. Like, they were one of the most powerful badniks that there actually was, aside from Metal Sonic and stuff like that. But yeah, let's get him out of the packaging. Alright, I got him out of the packaging and messed around with him for a little bit, and this is a good figure. It is probably one of the best badnik toys we've gotten in the line so far, and I am including Omega in that count. He is actually very amazing, although there are a couple of mildly infuriating notes on him. But we'll get to that in just a bit. Okay, first thing I should say, similar to Omega, his plastic is very solid and hard. He's not made out of the softer latexy style plastic most of the other figures are made out of. It's the same kind of hard plastic that makes up most of Omega's body. Except, of course, for the limbs, which use the regular kinds of plastic that all the figures use for their limbs. The jetpack is also made out of softer plastic and is a little bit heavy. When he's not holding his weapon, he can be back heavy, but as you can see, he still stands quite well. The paint job is actually really good for the most part. I just wish that they used a more metallic looking silver instead of just dull gray for most of his parts. Although I guess this does work for what he is. It is, I don't, like the... You know what? In my headcanon, this Egg Robo is the Egg Robo that actually menaces Knuckles in Sonic and Knuckles. So, like, it's that one Egg Robo that was actually doing a specific thing and wasn't just an act boss. That's what I'm gonna say. Act boss, regular badnik. You know what I'm talking about. And speaking of paint job, there's subtle things, like, let's get this in real close. Like, you can see there on his shoulders, a couple of red stripes or yellow stripes are painted on there to break things up. You also have little tiny yellow parts painted next to those little button things. And the soles of his feet have a really detailed deco to them. Like, that's really impressive. I don't think I've really seen extra effort go into painting the soles of a figure's shoes since Jazzwares did the soles of Silver's shoes, and that was really only for their first release of the figure. They didn't bother to paint those details in later releases. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And the one thing about the paint job I find a little bit infuriating is these triangle bits. Like, they don't go all the way up into the collar the way they're supposed to. They stop just short, and that really upsets me because every other thing about this is so perfectly done except for that one little spot. Would it really have been so hard? And also, there's like no sculpting on the chest to delineate those lines. Like this black line and these yellow things, like they're just painted on to a completely smooth surface. If I went in there with a little bit of acetone, I could just erase it and this would be like a completely smooth egg. Like no tech, there's no sculpt, there's no tech greeble. I find that kind of weird. Alright, so breaking down the posability, Egg Robo has a swivel neck. That's one thing it has over Omega, who does not have a head swivel. The shoulders are universally jointed, so you can get all that movement out of them. The elbows get a full they get just past a 90-degree bend, and there is a bicep swivel in the right place. Why couldn't they do this for the Metal Sonic figure? So he has a head swivel, which makes him better than Omega. His bicep swivel goes the right way, which makes him better than Metal Sonic. And I kind of love that he actually has a little four-fingered cartoon hand. They actually remembered to put that particular detail in, despite the fact that, you know, it would be easy to forget and give him 5 fingers like all the other characters. There's nothing in the waist. No waist swivel. The entire body is just one solid piece. And he has hip articulation. Little tight to get his legs forward, but they do it. And then, of course, they go out because they're universally jointed. And he has a knee swivel. Again, it's a little tight. And here's the only flaw. The knee swivel is below the knee, so it only rotates instead of being above the knee where it can act as a thigh swivel. Oh my god, you did it again! Actually, this is inverse Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic had the properly done knee swivels and the improperly done elbow swivels. This guy has proper elbow swivels, but improper knee swivels. Why can't Jakks Pacific get it right? Come on! Is there some kind of mistake quota? Do you have to put a flaw in? But it's a minor flaw, so I'll forgive it. And the feet actually have a swivel, so you can actually have him do this. Look at that! I don't think there's ever been a proper swivel joint in the foot before. That's really cool! My voice is cracking. So yeah, like, oh, you know what? Mecha Sonic had this. Mecha Sonic is the only other figure I know that had an ankle swivel like this. That's so cool! So cool! Love it! I love it! Ah, yes. Marry me, toy. And check out this gun. It's freaking huge. It's almost as big as the figure is, and it has details. It has a blue stripe painted on top, black detailing picked out. They even painted the inside of the barrel white to be like the plasma beam that these things would shoot out. There's no real efficient way to get it in except to inelegantly stretch the fingers past it. But once you get that in there, the hand is perfectly molded for it. Like, absolutely perfect. Holds it perfectly. And here's something. Because of the hollow construction, the gun doesn't actually make the figure top heavy. It can stand perfectly fine holding this ridiculously oversized gun, even if you put it into relatively extreme poses. Look at that. That's really amazing. Frankly, I'm super duper ultra impressed. Oh, I also love, like, if you look really closely, come on, focus. You see, like, look at that. Look at the details in that head. Look at that head sculpt. Like, his eyes, like, they look like they would move around independently of the rest of the head so it could look up and down. Like, that is a really, really nice sculpt. Like, I'm not, like, there's no backhanded compliment. That's a really nice sculpt. I like that. I really do. Well, that looks amazing. Genuinely, unironically praising. But yeah, like, I'm really impressed that this gigantic gun doesn't throw off the figure's balance. Nor does it weigh down the arm. Like, you can totally just bring that arm up, you can rotate the wrist around, and it will totally still do the posing. So, yeah, This is probably going to be no contest, but let's get out the Jazzwares figure that I totally still have to compare the two of them. Okay, now you might rightfully call this out as a cheat, as I am bringing out the Egg Robo that I customized. Like, as you remember, I put a peg in the hand because it didn't really have a strong grip on the gun before, and a lot of the details weren't painted in, like the stripes on the head, the stripes on the gun, on the jetpack, the stripes on the shoes. None of those details were originally painted in. But you know what one detail was painted in? The collar, the little triangle things on the collar, and they were actually painted in properly. They go all the way up and into the face. So that's one paint detail that the Jazzwares version of the Egg Robo did better. Also, they are actually sculpted in. If I washed off this yellow paint, there would still be triangles there. And also this, even though this isn't picked out with a line of black paint, it is sculpted in Tech Greeble. So like, features that are literally just drawn onto smooth plastic for this figure were actually sculpted into this figure, even if this one wasn't painted nearly as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Maybe Jazzwares did a little bit better with the sculpting of the body. Although I will say Jakks did better sculpting on the head, because like, you know, like if you look at this thing, like it doesn't have nearly the level of detail in the head sculpt. It still has good detailing, especially for the smaller size scale, but yeah, I just feel like somewhere, like if they could get the CAD files for this torso and then just cast this torso in it, then you have the perfectly sculpted Egg Robo. But yeah, like, we're enough about theoretical amalgamations. Yes. Yeah, that's, I'm just gonna call out and say it. This is probably the best Badnik toy that's ever been made. Like, I really genuinely think that Jakks Pacific's 4-inch scaled Egg Robo is, like, I don't want to say it's a better figure than it needed to be, but they clearly put way more effort than they were obligated to. This is a fantastic figure. It really, really is. I'm absolutely gobsmacked at just how good a figure the Egg Robo is when it's just a low-level grunt Badnik. This isn't even one of the hard-boiled heavies. This is just a regular Badnik. They could have gotten away with making this in the 2.5-inch scale to go along with Motobug and stuff, but they didn't. They made it a full-on, full-scaled figure that would stand next to your Robotnik figure as basically its size, because that's what these things were. They were meant to actually be robots made in the image of Dr. Robotnik. Which I say because this is from the old Genesis games back when they called him that. Although yes, like I said, he did make that cameo in the kart racing game for Sonic Adventure 2. So yeah, there's that. So thank you for watching these review videos, and I'm hoping to have some custom content done pretty soon. But for now, Wake Angel 2001 is signing off.